Hey, welcome everybody to Metabolism Engineering Internship Day 6, choosing an optimal design. Now, last lesson, you were supposed to submit to Amina your final design or your best design that you had so far. And in the Futura workspace, you were supposed to have entered in um, all of your information for that recipe, how many grams of each, ingredient, etc. And she, if you did that, she would have written you back. And you should have feedback in your inbox right now, telling you what she thinks about your design, how she feels about it. So, one of the things that we're going to be doing today is responding to that feedback, looking at that feedback, and applying it to our next design. So, go read your daily message. Take any notes. Just note what you have to do today and what's expected of you today, what your deliverables are, and then come on back to me. All right, so let's do this. You should, like I said, have received feedback from Amina, and these are suggestions for your next design, how to improve your design. Let's go ahead and there we go. Moving on. To figure out whether you think Amina thinks your results for each criterion were strong, moderate, or weak, you can look for phrases that state if something is good, just okay, or not great and needs a lot of improvement. These phrases are clues for how to make changes to your next iterations. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to interpret what she is telling us. So we need to know, okay, if she says this is, I need to improve it. Or if she says this, that means that it's okay. Or if she says this, that means, wow, it's actually really good. So let's go ahead and take a look at some example feedback. We're going to look at some of the key phrases here, and you'll get a letter like this. All right, so the first part that's highlighted here is rescue workers might need a bit more protein in their food to allow their muscles to repair themselves fully. Try increasing the amount of protein in your Futura bar recipe a little, using ingredients with higher protein values. Now, considering protein, what is Amina telling us here? I mean, some of you might say, well, it's pretty clear what she's telling us. It needs a little more protein. Okay. So we have an okay amount of protein. She's not saying like, whoa, where's all your protein? She says they might need a bit more. So we do want to address this when we make our final design. Next, we're going to look at some good news. So this part shows the parts highlighted in green tell us this design strongly addressed. So this is the stuff we're doing right. It says, great work on developing a Futura bar recipe that most of your test users enjoy eating. Nice, high taste score. There might be other recipes that have a taste score like this one, so try to keep your taste score at least this high, or if possible, increase it even more. So are we worried about our taste score at all here? No, we are doing really well on our taste score. We want to try to keep it as high as it is. If it goes any lower, we're risking only treating this criteria moderately and not strongly. So let's look at the next one. The parts highlighted in pink here tell us the design weakly addressed the criterion of low cost. This Futura bar recipe is too expensive at this cost. International Disaster Aid probably won't consider this recipe because they won't be able to serve as many people in need. See if you can remove some of the most expensive ingredients in your recipe, but still give people the protein and carbohydrates they need. So it is very clear from this information that it's just far too expensive, and this is a deal breaker, really, right? Like they won't even buy it because it's just too expensive. So we really, really need to work on this. If you find wording like this in your feedback letter, that means it's something you really need to pay attention to and you really need to address in your next recipe. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. I have uploaded these sheets to your lesson today. If you can print it out, that would be amazing. If you can't print it out, hey, maybe you could just put this on a doc or write it on a separate sheet of paper, okay? So they say, hey, go ahead and use highlighters, just like we saw, yellow, green, and pink. We use those for moderate, strong, and weak. Maybe you want to color code it. I don't know. Maybe that's just not your thing. But hey, I like seeing things in color. So We're going to start off by filling the top row with the details of the Futura version you submitted for feedback. So this is already done. You already have this information. This is what you input and you submitted to Amina. So just enter in that information. Find that recipe. Find out what those numbers were. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to read your letter, okay? And you are going to take notes on the feedback, and that goes on the second row, taking notes on the feedback. You can color code each of these to show like, hey, this is something that I did really well on, something that I need to work on, or something that was just, whoa, way off. If that helps you. I'm not going to make you do it, but hey, why not? Open and read your feedback letters from Amina. So now is the time to shine. You're going to read these and examine these and see what she has to say. The next thing that we're going to do is I want to collect feedback from the entire class. So if we were in class, I would be filling this out up on the board and hearing from you. But since we're not, I have attached this form to your lesson in Google Classroom that I would like you to fill out. The Metabolism Engineering Internship Day 6 feedback form. So what you're going to do is you are going to put your name in here. Look, I put my name. I put first period because, whatever. And then you're going to enter in all of your information, starting with, did you choose patient or rescue worker? Okay, let's say I did patient. All right, great. Ms. Reagan, I don't know what I did. Wait, what? You don't know? Go back and check. Next, was your feedback for protein, was it strong, moderate, or weak? Based on what Amina said and based on the wording that she used, did you determine that she thought it was strong, medium, moderate, or weak? Well, I'm going to say strong. What was your protein percent? Ew, what was my protein percent? It was 89. 89, yeah, okay, great. Next, carbohydrates. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go through this. 34, that might be actually kind of low. And then lastly, glycemic index. Weak. It was 1. There you go. And there you go. So what we're going to do is you're going to fill out this form, and I'm going to get everyone's data, and we're going to basically put together, okay, so what were the numbers that people were getting that received strong feedback? What were the numbers people getting that received moderate feedback and weak feedback? So we can see how all of our classes did, and we'll be able to take a look at that data together. So fill that out after you have filled out your own feedback form, and we are going to, we're going to move on to, here we go. We'll talk about this in class, but were any of you able to strongly address all 3 criteria? The answer is most likely no. No, it's really hard to do. So what do we call that? Remember we call that trade-offs. If you did not watch this trade-offs video, go back and watch it. I don't remember what day it was, day 4, day 5 maybe. But go watch that trade-offs video if you didn't watch it already, okay? And think about this question: what kinds of trade-offs did you make? Did you prioritize one thing over another? Did one thing suffer because you just weren't really that worried about it? So talk about this. We'll talk about this again in class. But what were the trade-offs that people made? How were some of the trade-offs that you all made similar and different? When you complete row 3, these are goals. What do you want to do? What is your goal for protein, carbohydrates, glycemic index, taste score, cost? Is your goal to keep it as it is and not change it because it was great? Do you need to increase it a lot? Do you need to increase it just a little bit? What number are you shooting for? Get some really specific goals in there. And then lastly, how are you going to do it? The redesign strategies. Which ingredients are you going to add, decrease, keep? How much of those ingredients do you think you want to use? So those 2 right there, those are very important because we're trying to get our optimal recipe. We're trying to get the best recipe that we possibly can based on the data and the feedback that we've received. All right, now that we have those sheets filled out, use them to inform your final design. Let's look at this word optimal, the most successful considering the situation. So our optimal design would have great feedback in every single one of those criteria. We know that that might not happen. So I don't know, maybe optimal for us is that we're looking for pretty high numbers in all of those. It's impossible to strongly address all three criteria equally, so you had to make choices, set priorities, and accept trade-offs when you designed your Futura bars. Now you should have a better idea of what your optimal design might look like. Conduct more iterative tests. What does that mean? It means you're going to be doing a lot of tests, and those tests should be influenced by the previous tests, right? We don't want to just keep throwing ingredients in the pot and seeing what happens. We want to use what we learned from our last recipe to inform our next recipe. Okay, and make sure you are using those sheets so you know, okay, what numbers am I shooting for? What things were weak? What do I really need to work on here? Okay, so do it. Build and test new versions of your bar. I have uploaded more recipe sheets. I mean, it's just one copy, right? But I uploaded it to this lesson also. So it is in your Google Classroom. Use those recipe sheets and make a few more designs and try to find the one that is the most optimal design, the best design. I want you to put stars on it and like smiley faces because we are going to be using that one. Hey, for after hours work, go fill out this trade-offs reflection form. It should be in your Futura workspace. And I think after that, we're done. We're done. So congratulations, people. We will see you next time.